Slightly wandering attention, hosted by Eric Tivers. ADHD, an autistic therapist and coach. Hear stories and strategies from folks like you and me. You don't have to mask, you don't have to hide, and let yourself be seen. ADHD rewired. It's more than just a podcast. ADHD rewired. It's coaching and community. We're wired for connection. You are not alone. ADHD rewired. Find us at ADHDrewired.com for the links and more. Starting is the hardest part. So let's get started.
Hey everyone, it's Eric, and yes, you actually did read that title correctly. This episode is for coaching group prospects only. Well, mostly. If you're not interested in our coaching and accountability groups, you are fully welcomed and allowed to skip this one. No hard feelings, no podcast abandonment issues. We'll be okay. But if you've been thinking about joining the next season of ADHD Rewired's coaching and accountability groups, or you've been hovering near the idea, circling the registration page, opening the emails, closing the emails, telling yourself, I'll get it later. And then later keeps doing that slippery ADHD time thing where it becomes not now, forever. And this episode is for you. Because registration is open for the next season of ADHD Rewired's coaching and accountability groups. And next week is planned to be the final week of registration. So I wanted to take a few minutes to explain what the group is, who it's for, how it works, and what your next steps are if you're considering joining us. You can start at coachingrewired.com. That will take you where you need to go. Now, let me say this clearly. ADHD Rewired's coaching and accountability groups are not a passive course where you buy access to a bunch of videos, feel hopeful for 48 hours, watch maybe 1.5 lessons, and then rediscover it 6 months later while feeling vaguely guilty. This is active, this is structured, this is relational. This is an 8-week coaching and accountability experience for adults with ADHD who are ready for more support, more rhythm, more follow-through, and more connection. The group includes coaching sessions 3 times per week, and starting in week 3, you'll also meet with an accountability team. You'll participate in daily top 3 priority check-ins. You'll learn practical systems, experiment with structure, build awareness, and practice follow-through in a community of other ADHDers who actually get it. And that part matters because a lot of us already know plenty. We know the strategies. We know we should break things down. We know we should use calendars. We know we should go to bed earlier, plan ahead, check our task list, reply to the email, start the thing, finish the thing, and stop pretending we're going to remember the thing. The problem is not usually a lack of information. The problem is implementation. The problem is consistency. The problem is doing it alone. The problem is trying to build a structure in isolation while your brain is simultaneously objecting to structure, craving structure, resisting support, wanting support, and somehow convinced that this time, maybe buying a new notebook will fix everything. And listen, I love a good notebook. I am not anti-notebook, but the notebook cannot lovingly call you back into the room when you disappear. The notebook cannot help you notice the pattern that keeps repeating. The notebook cannot help you practice asking for help. The notebook cannot sit with you in the messy middle and say, okay, what's the next doable step? That is what this group is designed to help with. It gives you structure. It gives you repetition. It gives you support. It gives you accountability. And maybe most importantly, it gives you a place to practice being an ADHDer without having to mask, explain, apologize, or pretend that things are easier than they are. Now, if you've been following ADHD Rewired for a while, you may already know this program has been running since 2014. And more than 1,200 people have gone through our coaching and accountability groups. And over the years, I've seen people come into this program carrying so much shame about the clutter, shame about time, shame about money, shame about unfinished projects, shame about jobs, relationships, parenting, school, paperwork, email, laundry, dishes, taxes, follow through, consistency. all of it. And I want to say this directly. You do not need to arrive here already fixed. That is not an admission requirement. This is not for people who have their lives together and want to optimize their already beautiful productivity system. I mean, if that's you, lovely, come on in. But this group is really for ADHDers who are tired of trying to shame themselves into change. It's for people who want to build systems that actually fit their brains. It's for people who want to do better with external structure. It's for people who need support with follow through. It's for people who are ready to practice differently. Not perfectly, differently. And that distinction matters because perfectionism loves to dress up as preparation. It says, I'll join when things calm down, or I'll join when I'm more ready, or I'll join when I've caught up with life. I'll join when I have more time, or I'll join when I can do it right. But for a lot of ADHDers, waiting until life calms down is like waiting for your browser tabs to organize themselves out of respect for your nervous system. It would be nice, but it is not the plan. Sometimes the reason to join is because things are not calm. Sometimes the reason to join is because you are tired of waiting for the perfect conditions. Sometimes the support has to come before the consistency. That is not failure, that is design. Now, here's how registration works. Before attending a registration event, you need to complete pre-registration. Pre-registration takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It includes watching a short overview video, completing a quick quiz, and submitting a brief 45-second intro video. And yes, I know for an ADHD audience, that is not nothing, but it's there for a reason. Pre-registration helps make sure that you understand what the group is, what the commitment looks like, and whether this is the kind of structure that feels like a good fit for you right now. Because this is an intensive group. It meets 3 times per week. It involves participation. It involves accountability. It involves being in a group with other humans. While it can be incredibly supportive, it's also important that people understand what they are stepping into. The registration event itself is not some high-pressure sales webinar. It's just a chance to meet me, possibly one of our coaches, and experience a bit of structure, ask questions, understand the schedule, and get a better feel for whether this is the right fit. It's also a chance for us to get a sense of whether the group is a good fit for you. Because I care about the room. I care about the culture of the group. I care about the people feeling safe enough to be real, supported enough to try, and accountable enough to grow. So if you're interested, your next step is simple. Go to coachingrewired.com. Start pre-registration. Again, next week is planned to be the final week of registration. The upcoming registration events are Tuesday, May 19th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern, and Friday, May 22nd at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. To attend one of those events, you'll need to complete pre-registration ahead of time. And if your brain is saying, okay, cool, I'll do it later, I want to lovingly interrupt that plan. Later is where ADHD intentions go to become mysterious archaeology. Do not make your future self excavate this. Open the page now or put it directly on your calendar for today. Not sometime, not when I have a minute, or real time. Go to coachingrewired.com and begin pre-registration. And if you're listening to this while you're driving, walking, cooking, or doing something where you cannot safely go to the website, then when you stop, send yourself a voice memo, text yourself the link, ask Siri or your smart speaker to remind you to do whatever actually works for your brain. Not what should work, what actually works. Because that's the spirit of this group. We are not trying to become people with different brains. We are learning how to work with the brains we actually have, with structure, with support, with accountability, with self-compassion, and with other ADHDers who understand the absurdity, brilliance, frustration, creativity, and occasional circus parade of living with an ADHD nervous system. So if you've been thinking about joining us, this is your nudge. Start pre-registration at coachingrewired.com. That's coachingrewired.com. Next week is planned to be the final week of registration, and I would love to see you at one of the remaining registration events. Thank you for listening. And if this episode was not for you, thank you for tolerating my lovingly obvious advertisement. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled ADHD Rewired programming soon. But if this was for you, go start pre-registration. I'll see you there.
ADHD Rewired coaching and accountability groups. CoachingRewired.com. CoachingRewired.com. Pre-register today. CoachingRewired.com.